Good morning. This is Mornings with Michael, Saturday Small Business Leaders. It's great to have a young, challenging leader here. We got Sean Meade Jr. from the state of New York. So we want to welcome him to the program. Sean has worked at Stratmont, Charter Communications at SUNY. He was an Excel leader for students there. AmTrust, he was a claims adjuster, a mortgage banker at the Federal Savings Bank, and he is currently an account manager at Connection. Welcome to the program, Sean.
Thank you, Michael. I really appreciate you bringing me on to this call. I'm really excited to be here.
Can you tell me a little bit about your background? What got you into Stratmont?
Stratmont Partners, well, that brings it back a little bit. Over at Stratmont Partners, I was actually looking for an internship while I was in college over at University of Albany or SUNY Albany. Um, it, it was a program that I seen that they came into the university, and I kind of just for the most part introduced myself to them along with a couple other people, and they told me it was a great program, and I pretty much just started. Oddly enough, it did turn out to turn it from an internship to a full-time job based on the hours, and yeah, that's what introduced me to them. Honestly, it was a great time. It did unfortunately end up leaving Albany. That's how we ended up separating, but it was a great time there. I quickly moved up, got promoted a little bit, and became a leader there.
Well, what did you learn there when you were at Stratmont?
I learned to be a boss, for the most part, right? I mean, at first it was just the simplicity of networking and sales, being an account executive, learning how people talk, the language that they use, the type of character that you need to have. And honestly, the job just wasn't easy. I learned how to move in a fast-paced environment and just to ultimately, at the end of the rope there, learn to manage others. That was the biggest thing I learned how to do was to manage others.
So you went to SUNY, and was it in social work? Was your degree?
Say again?
What was your degree at SUNY?
I got my bachelor's in sociology and I minored in business.
Oh, sociology. Okay,
Yeah.
very good. And how did you like that experience?
It was rough transferring to University of Albany, but at the end of it, I really appreciated. It was a great time networking with people in the business department. That I have some favorite professors there that I love. Ethan Spritzer is one of them. Um, Professor Morgan, who was my business law professor. So it was honestly great. Um, University of Albany honestly is the best place to go ahead and network and to utilize your time there as long as you're utilizing it properly.
Uh-huh.
Um, right. And then the sports teams was great. It was great to engage in. It was great to just have a different change of pace. And networking there too. It's big Albany pride there, big Great Danes.
Oh, were you on a sports team there?
No, I did run track and field, but I didn't run for University of Albany. I had transferred to UA though.
Okay. Have you stayed in touch with any of your professors since leaving?
Actually, yeah, and I actually had a conversation with them on Friday actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was great to reconnect for a little bit. We haven't talked in 2 years for a little bit there after graduating, and I was a teaching assistant under them. I was helping teach Excel to 1400 students there while I was um while I was still a student at University of Albany.
How did you get into that?
I got into that simply because I wanted to look for experience pretty early on throughout my collegiate career. When I transferred there, I realized after my fall semester I really need to get some experience. And after taking the class, I had asked Professor Spitzer, I went to his office during his office hours and I asked if I could become a teaching assistant. He actually was very welcoming to the process. He told me how it works and how it would go, and pretty much that I wouldn't be alone throughout the experience. I was nervous though. I won't lie. It took me a lot of courage to go to his office and ask about it because I think being a teaching assistant is a lot of work.
Uh-huh.
But it that did teach me a lot about time management and how to work with others.
Do you think that prepared you a little better for when you went out in the working world?
Absolutely. Absolutely. At the end of the day, it was definitely a business. for them at the time, it was definitely the start of the program. I think when I joined in, the program must have been, I think, 3 years old at the time.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's 1,400 students. And I wasn't the only, like I said, I wasn't the only teaching assistant. I think at the time when I joined, there might have been a little bit over 55 TAs. I want to say 56 teaching assistants.
Uh-huh.
That got quickly reduced by the following semester, but it definitely prepared me only because I think I had about 12 Excel projects to work on, make sure that I was efficient in everything that I worked on, and making sure that I was able to reiterate the information over to the students at the time. It taught me how to manage my schoolwork as well. So along with, like I said, I was still running track a little bit separately. So I was able to manage my whole time there. And then ultimately, I was able to learn how to reduce my time there and ultimately still work a full-time job. So
Well, that's great.
yeah,
Thanks for sharing.
yeah, I appreciate that.
So you worked at Charter Communications. That's interesting. A good friend of mine, he's installing a number of Charter Communications lines in the Central Valley in California here. He does directional drilling. But tell me a little bit more about that experience.
Yeah, so I quickly ran into that for my senior year of college during my graduation year.
Okay.
Yeah, I joined them because they had a phenomenal program for students for tuition reimbursement program. A friend of mine recommended me to work for different which was their mobile department. That mobile department was definitely around 3 years, about 3 years old at the time, when I joined for their mobile side. Ultimately, it was great. I got to join the team. I got to learn things about, on the mobile side of things. I quickly elevated and learned a bunch of skills. With me and my work ethic, I did learn more also on the internet side of things, the cable side of things as well.
Okay.
So I took a lot of challenges on my own to learn more about the business and how things work. Quickly learned on the processing on their retention side and their escalation side of things as well. So it was a lot of work though. So
Oh, that's awesome. And then you moved on to AmTrust of
yeah,
Financial
interest.
Services.
Yeah,
You were like a claims adjuster.
yeah.
Well, explain a little bit more about that process.
So, claims adjuster. So that's when I had separated from charter communications because when I got my degree, I wanted to take on a different challenge.
Uh-huh.
Um, and Trust Financial Services, they contacted me for a job opportunity, and I took it. With being a claims adjuster, you're basically just filing claims, whether it be accidental, looking into police reports, certain things in regards to law, accidental, things like that. So, usually would help people in regards to maybe if somebody got hurt in a workplace and they need to take
Mm-hmm.
time off. So they will go ahead and file a claim. I would then have to go ahead and do my research to make sure all information is accurate, to make sure that nobody's fibbing. So I'd have to call around. We would then, of course, by getting approval, have access to security cameras to see how the accident had happened, if there were security cameras in the area. So that's how that is.
Interesting. And then you moved to a Federal Savings Bank as a mortgage banker.
Yeah.
Um, how did you find that?
They also contacted me. I was looking for a new job at the time. I believe this was a little bit after COVID as well.
Okay.
So yeah, yeah. So, being a mortgage banker was it's just as it sounds, right? You're a
Uh-huh.
mortgage banker helping people with their mortgages. Helping people decide whether they want to, if they're a veteran, they get a veteran loan, FHA. I forget the other
Okay.
one at this moment in time, but I basically help them decide which type of loan that they want. Try and help them get the best interest rate possible. Try to help them on the approval process. So I'm the first point of contact that somebody would talk to in regards to which loan do they want. I could probably help clear out some debt as well, kind of consolidated a little bit along with well, with everything else, maybe their mortgage and probably help refinance. That was also another thing that we could do.
Okay.
And then hopefully make a great decision, and then I would just go ahead and get them along to the next guy, and then they would go ahead and work everything else out. So, but it all depended on what somebody wanted to do, right? Whether it's buy a new home or maybe it's something reselling a home, things like that. So there's a lot into it.
Did you work with real estate agents as well?
Um, Me personally, with my short time there, no.
Okay.
I think they had specific people for that. So anybody that was in regards to that, quickly shifted them over.
Okay. Where is Half Moon?
Half Moon is in Albany, New York, but it's a little bit further. I want to say a little bit past Schenectady, a little bit. Maybe a little bit more past Latham, New York as well. So, if you're in Albany, the capital, I would say it's about 20 minutes away by drive, 20, 25.
Okay.
Yeah.
You really, kind of accomplished a lot in a short amount of period and seem to be focused. Where did you grow up? Did you grow up in Albany?
No, I didn't. So I came to school for Albany and I ended up staying here because I really wanted to basically have a lot of personal development. I see myself growing a lot here. And I'm happy I made that choice. I felt like if I went back home, I'd rely on my parents a little bit too much. But to answer your question, I was in Cornwall, New York,
Oh, in
graduated out of
Cornwall.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I graduated out of Cornwall Central High. So I was there for some years.
So, who would you say was big had the biggest impact in your life as growing up as a in Cornwall?
Um, in Cornwall, I would say my parents. I know that's shouldn't be the first thing, but it's honestly the first thing. It's definitely my parents. They held my hand a lot through a lot of challenges through Cornwall Central High. And then I would say he's not in Cornwall, but he was nearby. His name is Coach Burks. He's the track and field coach over in Newburgh. He's the one that helped my development in becoming, a boy to a man, maturity, understanding, the college process, not just with sports, with education as well. So I would say those were my biggest role models coming out of Cornwall.
So you were like a track athlete. Well, what kind of track did you run?
I ran the 100, the 200,
Oh,
four
okay.
by one, 4x2. Yeah, that was me.
Well, that's awesome. Well, finally on your list here, I have Connection. I tried to do a little research on Connection. I couldn't seem to find the company. It had all these definitions of what a connection was and
Yeah.
networking, and maybe you can tell me a little bit more about that company.
Yeah, so Connection at the end of the day is a reseller company. Maybe you've heard of B&H or CDW, Insight or She, but at the end of the day, Connection is a reseller company, a phenomenal company. We're partnered with 1,600 vendors. And we're mainly in the IT space, right? So we
Okay,
help our customers with anything IT based, so that we can go from everything simplistic with computers, laptops, monitors, printers, ink and toner, and we can go, overly simplistic. I mean, well, overly challenged in regards to cloud, telecommunications, um, AWS as a service, Azure, and just so much more. So we provide, a very wide scope of IT to our clients. So we could either become an MSP provider, where we could fully manage our clients' IT environment, or we can more so just help in regards to maybe on a consulting side, let them know that here's what we advise for your IT environment. Make sure that they stay standardized, with Microsoft or Adobe. So it's a very wide scope of things that we help with there.
so yeah, you've been there a little over 2 years. Did they have like a special training program when you came in?
Um, I, yeah, yeah, honestly, yeah. I'm an account manager there, so I mean, they definitely, I think training was about a little bit over a month, right? Initial training is about a month, and then technically they say, training lasts up to 6 months. What I specifically do there is I help manage about 250 accounts
Oh wow.
over at Connection, yeah, which is essentially, 250 different companies, but I'm also managing you know, many other different departments that they may have, or more so different locations that they may have. So, like for example, if I work, for like as an example, if I work for McDonald's, right, and I'm helping them with their IT environment, I may help with like 365 other locations, right, right.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's how it can work. I do have a couple of clients that are like that where they have multiple locations, but it's not too hard. But with the training, they do, it's very phenomenal, it's very great, and it's helped me get to the point of managing all these companies.
Well, that's terrific. Um, so is it says looks like you work remote. Do you
Yeah.
ever have to go into the location in
Uh,
Merrimack, New Hampshire?
And I've been there about a total of 3, 4 times. I don't have to, but I've enjoyed my time every single time that I've went, and I've learned a whole lot every time I've went as well. So, because a lot of our partners do go into the office and they're always updating us on a few things. So, I do have to face the challenges of being remote. I personally love being remote, right?
Uh-huh.
But I will say, if they were nearby, I would definitely go visit from time to time, and visit our partners and just kind of just see my team a little bit. But to answer your question, I don't have to, but I do enjoy my time every time I do see them. So,
How many account managers would you say estimate to work with the company?
ooh, um, I say there's a lot, because there's levels to it. There's account
Uh-huh.
managers, executive, presidential. So, I mean, I'm only 2 years, so I would definitely say over 100.
Oh wow.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Because there's different locations, right? We have a location in Texas, I believe, and we have one in Pennsylvania, and then there's one, of course, in Merrimack, New Hampshire. There might be one or two that I'm missing, but they do have a few locations.
So you've had a number of places that you worked with, got a number of different skills and experiences behind you. What do you think like your 5 to 10 year 10-year goal would be? Where would you like
My
to go to?
I mean, my goal honestly is to be presidential here over in the company of Connection. I think it's very doable. I think it's very realistic. I've been here for a couple of years. I've made my connections with a lot of people. I'm still making my connections with a lot of people, within the company and outside the company, which is very important. With the mentors that I have and the managers that I have and the full team that I have, my goal is to just soak in soak in as much information as possible, and kind of just expand from there, which I've been doing. I would say I struggled my first 6 months there. Was only able to close about $62,000 in revenue for them. After a full year, then I was able to, about to go, I want to say a little bit over 220,000 in revenue. And now, I think I want to say 6 months into 2024, I'm a little bit over $300,000 in revenue for them, right? So, I mean,
Well,
my goal is just to keep
congratulations.
on. Yeah, I appreciate that. So my goal right now is just to keep on going. To answer your question fully, is to definitely get to that presidential role. I want to have a team behind me as well. I want to be able to have the opportunity to hire people underneath me and then teach them about my book of business, and to also get them to that level as well. So I kind of want to be that person where somebody can come to me, I can help them, I can teach them, I can help them grow and give them the opportunity so they themselves can also be an account manager and have their own book of business and grow. I would like to be that gateway.
So somebody totally outside, what does becoming presidential mean?
Somebody presidential. I mean, I'm not there yet, but I have seen a few presidential account managers, and ultimately speaking, being a presidential just means that you're making I don't even know. Like for the company, you're definitely making them over $5 million a year, right? Being presidential means that you have your own book of business. It's well established. You have about, I want to say, like 75 plus companies, buying from you month to month. What that means is that you're very knowledgeable in the IT space. You may be well versed in a specific topic, maybe cloud. I know there was somebody who was working here over in Connection. He's presidential, and he's a very smart, very intellectual type of guy. He's so well versed in cloud. That's where I want to be.
Okay.
Ultimately, we do have solution architects that that are able to help us, help me and my clients make decisions
Uh-huh.
in that space. But I'd like to go ahead and handle that myself. So, but yeah, being presidential pretty much shows that you're able to be very well versed in a lot of things in the IT space, and you're able to go ahead and manage your own team essentially.
Okay. So we kind of covered what you've been doing as work. What do you like to do to kind of get away? Do you like to travel? Kind of, you know, redo your energy in the working world. How does that look to you?
Yeah, so outside of work, I like to cook.
Okay.
Yeah. I like to cook. I do work out. I would say I have a regimen. Every day after 5:30 when I clock out of work, I go work out for about I want to say hour and a half, 2 hours. I come home and I like to make sure, I manage my body pretty well on weekends. I do like to, cook, watch a little bit of Netflix. I do read a lot. And I like to spend a little bit of time with my family as well when I do get the chance, when I do get to see them. And I like to spend a little bit of time with my girlfriend as well. So, but ultimately, yeah, I would say cook. I would like to get back into the hobby of drawing and painting. That's
Okay.
that's definitely a goal of mine once I reach my other goals. I have to reach my other goals first before I can have a little bit more fun. But yeah, so I would say read, cook, watch a little bit of Netflix, and definitely enjoy the outdoors and work out.
Yeah. So I lived not too far from where you grew up. I was probably before you were born, but
Right.
in Port Jervis,
Yes.
not too far, and I think I ran a 10K race over there one year. So it's a beautiful part of the country, kind of rolling hills and lakes, and
Right.
so yeah, it's really a pleasure to have you on Saturday Small Business Leaders. Really wish you well. You look like you're well on your way. You're focused, and yeah, continue to just grow and kind of grow your vision. And we wish you much success. And maybe we can have you on again and see where you've grown to.
Yes, Michael. I greatly appreciate you having me on. I do hope you do invite me again sometime in the future. Thank you.
You betcha. So this has been Mornings with Michael for information and educational purposes only. We look forward to seeing you later.